Welcome to Annapolis Mosaics. Our program spotlights people in our community who are involved in activities designed to promote good human relations. I am Michael Keller, the chair of the Annapolis Human Relations Commission and your host. The commission is a city board that seeks to promote equal opportunity and to eliminate discrimination. My guests today are Diane Butler and Denise Johnson, who are involved in a family night program at Eastport Terrace Harbor House. That is one of Annapolis's public housing residences. This program is sponsored by the Eastport Civic Association. Denise and Diane, welcome to Annapolis Mosaics.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let's get right into it. Let's tell our viewers about the components of the Family Night program. What do you do?
Well, I'm going to jump ahead just a little bit and say that it's not just sponsored by Eastport Civic Association, Mike. You may know that several other churches in the area are involved. Yes. And the other churches are Mount Zion, First Christian, St. Luke's, Cheryl Menendez's group, which is Light of the World, Eastport Civic Association, and the Unitarian Universalists. So it's really a conglomeration of a lot of different groups that form our family night on Wednesday nights.
And what we do is we generally got together just to build a relationship with our neighbors in the public housing development. And in doing so, it started out as just giving a monthly meal. That's the way we started, and it has developed since that time.
And originally it was in response to the 2007 Stop the Gunfire movement, which turned into Stop the Violence. And just for historical purposes, Cheryl Menendez got a group of churches in the area and the Eastport Civic Association leaders into actually her church and said, we think we need a community approach to this problem, and I want each one of the churches to adopt one of the public housing facilities and work with that particular facility. And so that's really the origins of our group. I wasn't at that meeting, but apparently it was pretty powerful, and Cheryl Menendez moved a lot of people to action.
And what exactly do you do as part of that program? I mean, you say it started with this sort of a weekly meal, but I know it's grown since then. It's got a lot of different features to it and aspects to it, with lots of different volunteers. What does the program actually consist of? What do you actually do?
Well, really, it's a once-a-month meal. We still do the meals, and generally it is a full meal. Initially, we had food that we thought children would enjoy eating, but we have evolved. And now we do more healthy meals. Along with the meals, we have activities. And those activities include drumming activities, arts and crafts, skits.
We wrote a letter to President Obama shortly after his inauguration.
We did.
We are pretty creative in our own programming. And the point is, there'll be some weeks where we don't have a star drummer coming in, as we do in September. It's just about being there, seeing the families, having a dialogue with the children, letting this group of people know that we're their neighbors and we're interested in what their issues are, and sort of bridging any gaps between our two different neighborhoods. So it's almost a ministry of presence, I like to say. We're just going to be there for a long time. We don't want to be one of those groups that comes in and starts something and then moves away. This is a core group of people that want to be available in the community as a resource for the long term.
About how many residents are regular participants in the program, or just, give me a general sense of that?
That's hard to say.
It is
we have
hard.
different kids, mostly kids. I would say anywhere from 20 or more each time.
And then at some of the bigger events, like at Christmas or any time we're doing a special program, we can get more than that, 50 or 60. Our pool parties, actually, we had a big party at their pool, which is a fabulous pool. Yeah, we fed 200 people.
Yeah.
You know, it was a large number.
Well, tell us about those special programs, the ones you attract more people to. What are those about?
Well, Denise has a friend who's going to be
give
here.
Some examples.
Yeah, drumming next at our next.
Well, most
meeting.
people are familiar with Larry Griffin.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Larry is.
Yeah, he's been on the show.
Yeah, he's one of my relatives. And I asked him if he'd be interested in coming and doing a little drumming program. And he's very excited about doing it. And he's going to be there for our September family night.
And then in October we'll do a Halloween-based program where we'll make masks, and the kids love arts and crafts. And you know, we're not art teachers, so this is fun for us. We're learning as we go, and we will also have somebody telling a story. So we'll make the masks, and then we'll find a storyteller, and it should be a lot of fun. And then around Thanksgiving we'll have a big Thanksgiving dinner with probably a skit. I would hope Denise has done some wonderful skits for us. And we'll celebrate Thanksgiving and
Well, what I like about it is that it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Fun for us as well as it's a lot of fun for the kids. And I think that's what keeps the kids coming. And also, we've developed relationships with some of the children. We know a lot of children that we didn't know before. When they see us in the street, they're like, hey, they may not remember our names sometimes, but they do remember our faces, and they come up, they give us hugs, and it's just a great feeling to be a part of the greater community.
And I think some of the families are starting to see us enough that they're trusting us. And at one of the last meetings or programs, several women were there, and they were saying how fun it was to just socialize with their own community. And I found that rewarding, because we want more interaction with the families so we can serve as resources for the community.
So you're getting a really positive response then to the community, from the community to the Family Night program.
I would say so.
I think so.
We were a little nervous at first that they would say, what are you doing coming into our area? You know, this is the Eastport Civic Center, which is open to everyone, but it's mainly on their property, and we would feel like outsiders. But I have never felt like an outsider.
Not at all. And we're always looking for more volunteers. So if there are anybody out there who's interested, please come. 4th Wednesday of every month.
And how many people do you have involved at this time? You mentioned the number of different churches and organizations that are helping you, and of course it's very important to have that kind of partnership with others. About how many volunteers do you currently have who are actually involved in the Family Night program?
I know at Mount Zion, from my church at Mount Zion, we have about 4 volunteers that come pretty regularly. At the Universalist Church, there are at least 2 or 3. And
St. Luke's always has 1 or 2.
1 or 2.
Eastport United Methodist, there's 3.
3 or 4 of them.
And where's Ann Rawls?
And it's from
okay, Eastport United. I would say we have a core group of about a dozen, and that makes it nice. If somebody can't make it for one reason or another, we have enough coverage on our programming night that we can tackle any meal and any program. So.
Denise, you mentioned, or at least it was mentioned, that you do skits, and Diane seemed really proud of that. Tell our viewers about those skits.
I'm not a drama expert. I just come up with these ideas that I think kids would be interested in, and I do have a knack for putting skits together, and I do a lot of it at church as well. So it comes from my church background. And usually if I do a skit, it has some type of theme. In the one I did for our group was based on African American history. And
it was shortly after the Martin Luther King's birthday.
Yes.
And so Denise played Martin Luther King Jr.'s mother.
Okay.
And it was so different than just talking to the kids about, do you know how important this leader was? You know, they stopped talking, they put down their, everyone wanted to see what, Mrs. King was doing and saying. And,
My boy.
Oh, they loved it. And I just didn't know Denise had that talent, but it actually was a wonderful skit, and we're looking forward to more of them. It's a good way to teach kids.
Yes.
Anything else you'd like to share about it? I'm intrigued by the skits that you do.
Well, I plan to come up with a few more.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm excited about the other programs. I'm hoping that we've done a nutrition program, which I think is very important for the kids. I'm hoping that we'll do something on health, on exercise, physical fitness, those things that they need. And I also would love to see us do something on managing finances, money, so that our children will know how important it is to know how to do that. So I think those are some areas that we can get into, but we need to keep it fun.
Right, it has to be fun. There has to be a learning
fun,
component.
yes.
And we're also thinking that there's an opportunity probably next year to start a Strengthening Families program, which is a 12-week program, 3 hours per week for families that really want to better their parenting skills. And the state of Maryland offers grants to actually put the programs together. And we're looking forward to trying to get our first families involved with that. Because we have a lot of young mothers who are working and very, very busy. And they've said to me, they've said to us, they could use parenting skills. So this is a wonderful opportunity if we can get it going. We're just in the process of identifying families that might benefit, trying to figure out how to reach out to them. So that's going to be an important component going forward.
We're going to take a break now, but when we return, we're going to have further conversations about this exciting family night program at Eastport Terrace Harbor House.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joni Jones. I'm the director of the Maryland Commission on African American History and Culture and the Banneker Douglas Museum.
I'm Genevieve Kaplan, the Education and Public Programs Manager here at the Banneker Douglas Museum.
The BDM is the state's official repository for African American history and culture. We offer a series of exhibits that change throughout the year.
We have programming for pretty much everybody, from kids to families to adults, school groups, church groups. Lots of activities going on at least once or twice a month.
In addition to programming, we make the site available for rental. You can have anything here from a meeting to your wedding and reception. So please check out the museum at www.bdmuseum.com, or you can call us at 410-216-6180.
We've been talking this morning about the Family Night program at Eastport Terrace Harbor House, sponsored by the Eastport Civic Association and a variety of different churches in Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. And we've had the privilege of having volunteers from this program join us on the show. We have Diane Butler, and joining us now is Liz Vandenheuvel, who is also one of the volunteers in the program. I'd like to ask you what features of the program have you personally found to be the most rewarding? What do you find? What parts of the program have you found to be the most popular in terms of the residents?
Do you want to go first? Give me a chance to think.
Well, I would say that. Well, let's see. The most fun I had was at the recent pool activities,
Oh, the
which
balloon
we
toss.
have no pictures of, and I was drafted to be in the balloon toss with water balloons, and I had a wonderful time, and all the kids had a wonderful time. And now
Can I just add, but she didn't follow directions.
Oh,
She was there to actually be a role model, but every time I said step back, she didn't do it. No, it was a lot of fun.
we had a great time. But I think that anything like that, where the kids are involved in interacting with the adults and with each other, are the most popular from the kids' point of view, aside from eating, which they all really
Everyone
like
enjoys.
to do. But I think that the interactions are the most important aspect of the whole program.
Tell us a little bit more about this balloon toss that you were involved in the pool. I want to get at the bottom of this.
Simple programming. So we're at the Eastport Terrace pool, and we have, I don't know, 40 kids, and we're trying to think of fun ways for them to do competitive little games. So we filled up these water balloons, and we just had a water balloon contest where you had to toss the water balloon and move back. Anyway, it is fun for the kids to see us play and have fun, because I think a lot of times they're in an environment, especially in a teaching environment, where their teachers are teaching them. They're not seeing their teachers laugh and do really silly things. And I think we get together, we can be pretty silly. And the kids, they definitely enjoy that. And it's part of what I love about the program is acting like a kid. In fact, the last time we had a drummer, I had a broken ankle, and the drummer asked people to stand up and dance a little bit to the drumming when their birthday was called, or the month of their birthday. And I got up and danced, and I realized as I was dancing, the kids were laughing, they were howling. It must have been pretty unique. So I continued to dance, and from that point on, some of the kids have come up to me when I see them on the street. You're the lady who danced with the broken leg. But it was just acting silly and having fun, and they love it, we love it. And it's just a chance for us to act like children.
Yeah. What role does the Housing Authority of the City of Annapolis played with, if any, with the Family Night program?
Very, very supportive.
Okay.
The new administration has been very active in supporting some of the things that are going on in the community in terms of outreach. And in fact, there's a new liaison, Sharon Brown, that is supposed to work with some of the community organizations that are trying to improve the lives of kids inside of HACA. So we're really encouraged, I would say, by the amount of positive intentions that we feel related to what's going on at HACA right now. A little problem right now is obviously there's a void in leadership, since there's a spot open for the executive director. And the sooner that can be filled, the better for us.
What things have you learned about the residents of Eastport Terrace Harbor House that you didn't know before you got involved with this program? What things have you found about them that you found to be enriching, or certainly indicative of things that you found were sort of uplifting, or things that you were just surprised about?
Well, my guess is from the few people I've talked to that these are people who are working very hard and struggling very hard to bring up their kids, to feed their family, to keep the roof that they have over their heads, and yet they have desires to move on. So that's my, I don't know, Diane. What
No,
do you
I was very surprised. I have to say, I went in to this volunteering opportunity with a thought that everyone in public housing is on welfare and no one really works, and that's just patently untrue. There are so many hardworking families, and you can see that they're working crazy hours and trying to keep it together. So having a little opportunity to share a meal with the community is a break for them. So I think I was impressed at how many hardworking families actually live in public housing and pay rent. That was the other thing. I thought everything in public housing was subsidized, and that's not true. So it's actually helping me understand a lot more about the public housing community.
What particular part of the program have you really enjoyed the most in terms of things that you say, gee, I really look forward to doing this or doing that? And what do you think has worked the best?
Well, I enjoy reading with the kids. So every once in a while, right after a program or sometimes before the program, I'll sneak in, and a little girl or a little boy will, tug on my, shirt and say, "Could we read?" And there's a whole set of books in the corner of the community room, and we'll just sit down, and the kids are so trusting. Well, they see us now and they know us. They'll just plop in your lap, and they just crave that attention, that one-on-one attention. And even if it's for a half hour, sometimes it's only 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just interacting with a child one-on-one is so rewarding, and just building the trust. That's what I really enjoy.
Yep. How about you, Liz? And how did you get involved with the Family Night program? I know you live outside of the city of Annapolis.
Yeah, I do.
And what actually drew you into this?
Well, Denise did, for one. But it's something that I felt in my heart was the right thing to do. That it is important to be involved with the people that live in your neighborhood, in your area, and this was an opportunity for me to do that, to do something that I felt I could do. So, and I think it's very important, especially for people who are living in public housing, to be integrated in the entire community of people and not to be so isolated.
You made reference earlier in our discussions today about programs that are being thought of or planned for the future. Relate some of those.
Well, I'm very excited about the Girls Club group that's been established. It's celebrating its 3rd year anniversary, and I'll be a Girls Club mentor. But it's interesting, I know a lot of the families already because of our Wednesday night group. So it's starting to feel like we're weaving together a lot of different groups. The girls group, there's the Box of Rain. There will hopefully be our family night in the future, not family night, Strengthening Families program through the family night. And what other, I'm trying to think, there's a couple of other groups besides the Girls Club. Oh, the Dialogue Project with the Human Relations Commission started. Every first Thursday of the month, we're bringing together families, not for a meal and for fun, but to talk about issues that have to do with living in public housing. And that is, that's challenging because there are a lot of people that live outside of public housing that don't understand and come in with preconceived ideas, but it's a great opportunity to open up the dialogue between these two groups and have a better understanding. So it's one step up from the family nights, having fun and just being there. It's trying to work out problems and at least start discussing the problems.
Right. Yeah, the Human Relations Commission initiated a dialogues project which involves an ongoing conversation between the residents of members of or residents of the city's public housing units and their neighbors in adjacent communities. And the very first one, dialogue project that we had involved members of residents in Eastport Terrace Harbor House and members of the Eastport Civic Association. And Diane was the person that basically got that going and got that coordinated for us. And since the initial dialogue session, there have been ongoing meetings that between the residents of Eastport Terrace Harbor House and others who live in the greater Eastport area. Give us more specificity about how those conversations have been going,
Sure.
Diane.
Well, the first few meetings were just following up on the initial meeting that you were instrumental in bringing about. But lately, it really is becoming a good way to find out what is impacting the folks at HACA and if there's any way that we can work with them to help. But it's also just a way to transfer information about even what's going on in Eastport, because a lot of these folks, if they don't read the Capitol, may not know what's going on in terms of events. So we tell them about our events, and they tell us about their events. And what we're starting to see now is that we're getting invitations to attend. So they're at a residents council meeting, and they've asked me if I would come to the Residents Council. We just had our Eastport Civic Association picnic, and I invited the Residents Council to appear or attend. And unfortunately, it overlapped with their Residents Council meeting, and we couldn't. But, you know, there's this wonderful feeling that they're welcome at anything we do in Eastport or around town in Annapolis, and that, you know, we're welcome to come and use their pool or use their civic association or community room and community center. So it's really evolving into just a wonderful way to interact with you know, our neighbors and discuss problems and issues and how we are alike.
You know, going back to the family night program, this is such a terrific outreach program that's been organized. And you know, my thought is that we have many other public housing facilities in the city of Annapolis with adjacent communities. I would take it that you would strongly recommend that other communities have or try to organize similar kinds of programs. But what advice would you have for them in terms of getting something like this going?
Well, I think my first bit of advice would be to contact all the churches in that area and get them working together, and then presenting what they come up with to a resident council or to some group in the public housing. I don't know if Eastport is more fortunate than most areas, but they do have a long history of working together, of different races, different economic levels, being able to work together, and I don't know if that has influenced our success, but I hope so.
I agree with Liz that starting with the churches in the area is always a good focus and a good way to start, because you have dedicated volunteers in churches that will continue to be part of the group. And of course, as you mentioned, the Eastport Civic Association has been really a strong element to this, you know, our group. But it's amazing how the churches really come together. And once you have a core group of volunteers that will promise to be there every week, then you just make it fun, and it'll all gel.
I think the other bit of advice that I would give is to start with something you know you can do.
Make it manageable.
Make it something that is really realistic, and go from there.
Diane, if any of our viewers are interested in contacting you for more information about the Family Night program, how can they reach you?
They can reach me through the Eastport Civic Association website. It's ECA.org. And any emails that go to actually Vic Pasco or anyone on the board will actually go directly to me or Jane Lawrence.
Okay. Thank you for viewing our program today, and please join us again on Annapolis Mosaics. If you would like to have more information about the Annapolis Human Relations Commission, you can contact us at the information that's on your screen. You can call us at 410-263-7998 or by email at hrcommission@annapolis.gov. And you can check out our page at the City of Annapolis website, www.annapolis.gov. Click on Boards and Commissions at the home page, and then scroll down to the Human Relations Commission page. And always remember the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said, "We have flown the air like birds and swum the seas like fishes, but have yet to learn the simple act of walking the earth as brothers and sisters."